The Houston Rockets are a poorly run, dying franchise. They're kind of like MySpace. Really promising, but everyone left for something better. And since Tillman Fertitas bought the team, Daryl Morey and Mike D'Antoni said, "I'm out," and now their stars could leave too. Yep, a report says James Harden and Russell Westbrook could be on the verge of demanding a trade. This video explains the unthinkable and why flipping their two superstars could save the franchise. Hey, it's Casey. Welcome to AM Hoops, 5 days a week, always at 9 a.m. Eastern, except for when we have breaking news like today. And what I've realized is we're nearing the draft and then trades, free agency, whatever. There's going to be a lot of news. And so we're only going to drop videos for the most important news and the best players, and today qualifies. And I hate when people say to trade a superstar. It's so easy to say rebuild, but some teams have been rebuilding forever. If it was easy to turn picks into stars, why have the Kings been bad forever? Or the Knicks? Or the Bulls? Because no one actually knows what they're doing in the draft. It's mostly luck. Sure, they've got an idea, but no one really knows anything. The team that trades the star loses almost every time. We could go over a lot, but here's a few. Chris Paul to the Clippers for Eric Gordon, Al-Farouq Aminu, Chris Kaman, and a pick that became Austin Rivers. Congratulations. The Lakers got Pau Gasol. The Grizzlies got Kwame Brown, Javaris Crittenton, Aaron McKee, Marc Gasol, and picks that became Dante Green and Grievous Vasquez. Pretty good, but LA won 2 chips. Trading stars is idiotic because stars are the toughest thing to get in sports. If you've got them, build around them. But Houston is a special kind of messed up. So for the first time ever, I'm recommending trading 2 stars for 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is the Rockets basically have no real assets to build around Harden and Russ. They've paired Harden with talent year after year. It hasn't worked, and they've cashed in assets in the process. Houston can only trade 1 future first-round pick. They have no talented young players. That gets nothing valuable. They have no cap space for years. All they can do is trade Russell Westbrook, but his trade value is awful. Daryl Morey left the team after trading away their future. Now trading their current stars is the only way out. Reason number 2 that trading Harden and Westbrook is a good idea is they're not winning anyway. I knew it was over when they hired Stephen Silas as their next head coach. The 3 candidates in the running for the Rockets coach were Silas, John Lucas, and Jeff Van Gundy. Now, I'm not saying Van Gundy is Phil Jackson, but he would have been the best option. The Rockets asked Harden and Westbrook who they wanted out of the 3, and they chose Silas. They didn't want to be yelled at by that old bald guy, but that is what they need. It was disgusting how the Rockets flamed out yet again, this time in the bubble. As soon as it was clear LA was the better team, Houston gave up. It's become a pattern with Harden-led teams. I know Rockets fans are tired of this. I mean, it would have taken like a miracle to come back, but who cares? Look at the Toronto Raptors. Any fan base would be proud to have that team. They were down 2-0 to the Celtics, seconds away from being down 3-0, then OG Anunoby hit a huge shot set up by Kyle Lowry. They forced a Game 7 against a more talented team. The Raptors have the kind of fight and gritty coaching the Rockets need. Instead of someone who would hold them accountable, hold their feet to the fire, they signed off on the players coach. Jeff Van Gundy refused to beg those guys to coach him, so he didn't, and he wasn't hired. Some people will say Van Gundy is too old school. That's just wrong. He's not dumb. He's watched the evolution of the game. He wouldn't stop shooting threes or switching on defense. The Rockets missed a chance to have a real change in their culture. The ironic thing actually is the stars now being unsure about the Rockets' future after they hired their pick for head coach. Look, I don't blame Harden and Russ for thinking a chip isn't in their future in Houston, and I don't blame the Rockets for taking trade calls. So, if they get any one of these calls, then Harden and Russ should go. Trade number 1, Ben Simmons, Matisse Thybulle, and the 21st pick for Harden. A report came out saying Houston has no interest in Ben Simmons. From ESPN, quote, "I've already been told with a few expletives included by somebody with the Rockets, no, Daryl, James Harden for Ben Simmons is not happening, don't ask." You know what that is? The Rockets driving up their price. Daryl Morey has already praised Joel Embiid in public, said Embiid could be one of the best centers ever. It's clear Morey wants Harden to pair with Embiid. The Rockets will demand more in this trade, so this gets it done. Houston extends their timeline with a star 7 years younger. Look, he's not on Harden's level, but Simmons averaged about 16 points, 8 assists, and 8 boards on 58% shooting and 2 steals a game. He's a 2-time All-Star. He can't shoot? The Rockets' fit is perfect. Simmons is surrounded by shooters at every position. The only trade worth it for Houston is another star in return. Plus, Matisse Thybulle brings the best young defense in the league. The other trade we're taking then is Westbrook to the Clippers for Lou Williams, Landry Shamet, and Cat Filler. This is the best Houston could do for Westbrook. He's making a ton of money and he's coming off yet another playoff run. His trade value is low. The Rockets get back another scorer to put around Ben Simmons. They also get one of the best young three-point shooters in Shamet. The Clippers get the point guard they need and they have expressed interest in Russ. They're gambling that he's going to figure out his playoff issues. Last year, Russ got 41% of his shots in the restricted area after the Clint Capella trade. That led to an MVP level few months. Then the pandemic hit and Russ had an injury and COVID-19. Only about 30% of his shots were in the restricted area in the bubble. Can he figure out how to make regular season Russ playoff Russ? The Clippers might think so. Option number 3 is the worst trade on the table, but Houston should consider. The Knicks get Harden and Russ. Houston gets Cat Filler, RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, and 6 first-round picks. The Rockets completely restock their draft chest with this deal. Again, I think the draft is a crapshoot, but maybe the Rockets get lucky with all these picks. Some Knicks fans think this will be too much, but the Clippers gave up 5 firsts and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for Paul George. This is a way to move on from the James Harden era and benefit the franchise. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but Harden ultimately was a failure for Houston. I don't blame Russell Westbrook or James Harden for potentially wanting to leave Houston. I mean, these are two guys in their late primes working with a first-time GM and a first-time head coach. There might be a way to salvage this by sitting down with their 2 stars and talking out the near future, but I think it's even more likely a big trade goes down. Whatever happens, the Rockets have to navigate this crisis. If not, their new owner, Tillman Fertitta, is the worst in the NBA. Daryl Morey, a good GM, Mike D'Antoni, a good coach, already said I'm out, and now 2 good stars could leave too. Support AM Hoops and click subscribe. Don't miss a daily NBA video.